The war in the Democratic Republic of Congo is bringing the continent of Africa into an unstable condition. As of today, the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, has issued a stern warning to the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, where Kagame has said that Rwanda is ready for a confrontation or a fight if need be with South Africa. The Rwandan President Paul Kagame says Rwanda is prepared for a confrontation with South Africa if necessary. This follows South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's claim that M23 rebels and Rwanda's defense forces were responsible for the deaths of 13 South African soldiers in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I quote what Cyril Ramaphosa said in a statement issued yesterday. Fellow South Africans, following the recent intensification of fighting in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, South Africa has lost 13 brave soldiers who were dedicated to their mission and committed to peace. The fighting is the result of an escalation by the rebel group M23 and Rwandan Defense Forces RDF militia engaging the armed forces of the DRC, FARDC, and attacking peacekeepers from the SADC mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, some DRC. On behalf of the government and the people of our country, South Africa, I express our sincerest condolences to their families, their loved ones, and colleagues. We bow our hands in honor of their heroic and gallant fight for peace. We honor and mourn them. All necessary support is being provided to the families of the deceased and the families of the injured. The process to repatriate the remains of the deceased is underway. The attack on peacekeepers resulted in the death of some DRC members from other troops contributing countries, namely Malawi and Tanzania. As well, members of the UN Organization Stabilization Mission in the DRC, MONUSCO Brigade. We honor all the lives that were lost and pass our condolences to their families, government, and citizens. The situation in Goma and Sake, where our troops and their counterparts are stationed, remains very intense, volatile, and unpredictable. The Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, Miss Aggie Moshekiga, and the Chief of the South African Defense Forces, General Rosani Mapwanya, and Sami DRC Force Commander Major General Monwabisi Yakopo, are working to ensure that Sami DRC forces remain well equipped and sufficiently supported during this critical mission. Now, when you look at this, the statement given by Cyril Ramaphosa is a statement that implicates that the rumors that have been going around on different media platforms, or the propaganda that has been spreading in regards to the fight in the DRC, that the president of Rwanda, Kagame, is supporting the rebels that are fighting the DRC forces is true. Now, Kagame says Ramaphosa had not warned Rwanda about his military activities in the DRC, but instead requested logistical support while acknowledging South Africa's effort for peace. Kagame asserted that South Africa is not in a position to act as a peacemaker or mediator, and warned that if South Africa seeks confrontation or war, Rwanda will respond accordingly. Kagame clarified details of his recent conversations with Ramaphosa, stating, "What has been said about this conversation in the media by South African officials and President Ramaphosa himself contains a lot of distortion, deliberate attacks, and even lies. If one can change so much from a conversation to a public statement, it says a lot about how these very important issues are being managed." In a statement on X, Kagame provided the following: that number one, the Rwanda Defense Forces is an army, not a militia. Number two, South African mission in the DRC is not a peacekeeping force and has no place in this situation. It was authorized by SADC as a belligerent force engaging in offensive combat operations alongside genocidal armed groups like FDLR, which target Rwanda. Number three, SAMI DRC displaced the East African Community Regional Force, a true peacekeeping force contributing to the failure of negotiation process. Number four, Ramaphosa never issued a warning but requested support for basic necessities like electricity, food, and water for South African forces. Number five, Ramaphosa confirmed to Kagame that M23 did not kill the South African forces, but further, and the FARDC, Democratic Republic of Congo armed forces did. Number six, if South Africa prefers confrontation, Rwanda will respond accordingly. Number seven, Kagame's remarks underscore rising tension between the two nations over the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the role of the external forces in the said region. Now, I read this tweet that was posted by one President Kagame. He said this: I held a conversation this week with President Ramaphosa. I held two conversations this week with President Ramaphosa on the situation in the Eastern DRC, including earlier today. What has been said about this conversation in the media by South African officials and President Ramaphosa himself contains a lot of distortion, deliberate attacks, and even lies. If one can change so much from a conversation to a public statement, it says a lot about how these very important issues are being managed. Now, this tells you everything. That the said situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo is a ticking time bomb that might explode and lead the East Africa community, which includes different countries in the East Africa, to a never-ending war. Because the other day, the president of Kenya, President William Ruto, who is the head of the East African community, called a meeting to negotiate between the currently rising tensions in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And among those that were invited is the president of the DRC, that is President Felix Tshisekedi. But Tshisekedi failed to attend the said meeting, which means he himself has withdrawn from the East African community. He wants nothing to do with the East African community, and this speaks volumes. Apart from that, the president of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, today morning released a statement on what was discussed at the said meeting that had been organized by President William Ruto. He said, last night we held an extraordinary summit of the EAC Heads of State, chaired by His Excellency President William Ruto, to discuss the situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We agreed that His Excellency Tshisekedi should engage in a dialogue with these armed opponents. Additionally, the EAC should convene an urgent summit with SADC to seek a lasting solution to this situation. That is what Yoweri Museveni said. And when you look at this, all these countries in the East Africa and South Africa, all of them have an interest in the war that is currently ongoing in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But one country has remained adamant to see these things go through, and that country is Rwanda. Rwanda has said that if need be, they believe that they have the forces and the equipment and the machinery to fight a country like South Africa that has been threatening them. If South Africa is seeking a confrontation with Rwanda, then they are ready for war. What does that tell you? That now this continent of ours that we love so much is at the brink of war. What should be done? Because thousands and thousands of men and women and children are dying in Congo every day. This is a task that has been given to President William Ruto to make sure that the negotiations that he is doing in the DRC should go through any time, because if it doesn't, the situation will continue elevating to a very critical situation that might lead now not the M23 against the Rwandese forces, against the DRC forces, but now it will be a war between Rwanda and the DRC. For now, that's what's up. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more update and more news.